again, thank you for presenting your position to why we should vote for you. And now we will move on to State Senate. And who is here? Anyone here for State Senate?
Joe Hooe.
Joe Hooe is here, and so is Delegate Lam. Not Mary Kay Siggety. Is she here? No, she's not here. Okay, so let us begin, as I have them written as it appears on the Maryland Board of Elections. Let us begin with running for State Senate, which is an open seat, with Joe Hooe, who is a local businessman.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming out. I'm Joe Hooe, and I'm running for Maryland State Senate here in District 12. I'm a lifetime area resident, a husband and father, small business owner, Johns Hopkins University graduate, a Maryland State Inspector, and I'm running for office because I think that my community, my county, my state need my help. I'm probably one of the most determined people you'll ever meet in your life, and most of the folks in this room know that, for sure, because I refuse to give up on what I have to offer all of these people that I care so much about, all of you. I am the only candidate running in the state of Maryland, I believe, with a plan to raise $350 million a year without raising taxes. And I want to do it by creating an immigrant pay-to-work program whereby all 350,000 illegal immigrant undocumented workers in Maryland purchase an annual temporary right to work. We will raise up to $350 million a year without raising taxes, simply by treating undocumented workers fairly. We have to do something. We have a lot of problems, and all of our problems do come down to money. In addition to that, as a Maryland State Inspector, I have knowledge and skills that can be used in the General Assembly. For example, this past session, the Maryland State Police submitted a plan to rewrite Maryland automobile safety laws. It went through the General Assembly and was forwarded right to the MDA. Not one change made, because no one in the General Assembly understands automobile safety laws. In a time when we're going to have autonomous vehicles driving around the road, we need somebody like me, people like me with those skills and with that knowledge in the General Assembly, because our laws aren't perfect, and we need people that can make the difference. I also am a bipartisan person. I work well with both sides. I work well with whether it's Councilman Quirk or hopefully future county executives like Al Redmond. I work well with the great governor that we're blessed to have, Larry Hogan. And I think that if we want results, we need to put these quality people together, and then you'll see good things happen. We're standing in a library that's about the size of one room in the new Elk Ridge Library. That's a shame, because I live here in Lansdowne. I've raised a family here in Lansdowne. And the elected officials that we have not been able to bring anything back to Lansdowne. And it's because of the lack of teamwork. And you can't get anything done without a great team. I'll tell you that right now. It doesn't matter which party the teams are in. You got to have a good team working together for the people. And I believe I know the people that are right. And I can work well with the people that are right. And we can get big libraries like Elk Ridge too. Look out there. What's the secret of success in Elk Ridge? You've got a great county executive, and you've got people on the other side who work well with him. So they get a $16 million firehouse. We can't get a $4 million firehouse. They get a $16 million library. We're standing in a room about the size of one room in that new library. So ladies and gentlemen, what I'm asking you to do is spread the word and let people know that Joe Hooe's running for State Senate. He's got a lot to offer you. He's got the skills and the ability and the passion and the dedication to do a good job. He's not going to go away. My family's been here in this town for about 100 years. And the Hooes have been in America since Jamestown. So we're not going anywhere. Vote for Joe Hooe, and thanks for coming out.
Thank you for that. Can't forget the local gentleman is here. And now we'll bring on Delegate Clarence Lam. So good morning.
morning, everyone. Thank you for hosting this. Happy to be here. I'm Clarence Lam, one of the current state delegates, along with my colleagues, Eric Eversole and Terry Hill. And the big news, as all of you have heard, is that Senator Casemeyer is retiring later this year after 28 years in the state Senate. I'm proud to be able to step up to run in following his shoes because he's really done a lot for the community, and we want to be able to carry on that legacy for Southwest Baltimore County. Senator Casemeyer has been a great listener, an honest broker, someone that you can always turn to for an honest answer. And I want to be that person for all of you in the community as well, and so do my colleagues here in District 12 who are running for re-election. It's incredibly important for us to have a good team to be able to work across the aisle and with community partners, whether it's the council person or the county executives in both counties, to be able to serve this district well. And I think that's what the three of us have done, and that's why we're seeking to continue to serve this community as well. It's incredibly important to build those relationships. I want to be an honest broker to our community. I am a good listener. I want to be able to take all of that back, whether it's to Annapolis or to Towson or to Howard County, and make sure that we're advocating for all of our communities to support the needs of folks that are out there. I'm going to highlight some of the things that we've accomplished over the last 4 years in the General Assembly, in the legislature, in the Maryland House of Delegates, because I think that speaks to the values that we carry forward in how we represent our community and some of the priorities that we have for our communities as well. When it comes to education, we've been strong advocates for making sure that teachers have as much resources and support as they need, that they have the time to be able to focus on teaching our kids, because that's really their primary focus, and to spend less time on testing. We have a great advocate on our team with Eric Eversole, who's a former teacher, who's really been able to give us the insights and also the perspectives of why it's so important to invest in our public school system. We've also done work to support community colleges to make it easier for people to be able to access higher education, because we know that education is a great equalizer for everyone, and it's incredibly important for everyone to have access to affordable education as well, and higher ed. And then we've also focused on early childhood development. We've actually supported in this year's budget some additional funding for Head Start programs across the state, because we realize it's incredibly important, and being able to have early childhood education has lasting impacts for children throughout their lives. I do want to touch on Lansdowne High School for a second, because I think it is incredibly important to our community. I know Delegate Eversole will touch on this as well. We're certainly concerned about some of the recent developments with Lansdowne High School. And we're working hard to try to secure additional funding and also create uniform standards for school construction versus renovations here in Baltimore County. And that's why we sponsored legislation this legislative session, HB 1827, which will create uniform standards for the Baltimore County government and the Baltimore County Board of Education to be able to follow when it comes to determining who will be getting new schools and who will be getting renovation dollars for their schools. I think that's important. That's our ability to be able to represent, advocate, and respond to some of these concerns. And that speaks to our values in being a strong advocate for this community and for all communities throughout the district. I do want to touch on healthcare. As many of you know, I'm a physician at Johns Hopkins, and so my background is in healthcare. I specialize in preventive medicine, which is especially keeping people healthy through exercise, wellness, nutrition, so they can avoid costly drugs, surgeries, and procedures later on. But there's certainly a lot of components when it comes to healthcare that we're concerned about. We're seeing rising insurance premiums over the last couple of years. We have done our best to try to rein that in, and we're also sponsoring legislation that's actively in session now to hopefully bring insurance premium increases down. We're also concerned about prescription drug prices. We've seen rising rates when it comes to prescription drug costs, and that's being passed down to consumers, and that's not right. So we've actually sponsored legislation that will empower the Attorney General to go after these pharmaceutical companies to make sure they're bringing that they have local folks in mind, and that the pharmaceutical companies aren't taking advantage of consumers. We're also concerned about the opioid crisis because we are seeing now more folks die from opioid overdoses in the state of Maryland than from car accidents every single day, and that's a real problem. We need to address the opioid crisis just as we addressed vehicle safety in the past. We need to invest in dollars, we need to invest in treatment beds, we need to make sure that there's less opioids being used. And so with that, let me close and say that we're here for the community. We're bringing additional funding back, whether it's Lansdowne Fire Department to the tune of $100,000, community college turf fields as well. So we want to be here for the community and want to be your advocates moving forward. So with that, let me close and thank you for hosting us again.
Delegate Lam. And we're going to move on now to a very crowded field for our local House of Delegates. We have a slate of 3 people running on the Republican primary, and there are 8 candidates for the 3 slots within the Democratic Party. So in your primary, we will bring up the Republican people first because they are pretty much the set slate right now. And we want to start with Mr. Bob Cockey.
Yay! Listen, guys, my name is Bob Cockey. I'm probably the oldest candidate in any of the slates. And we do have a team with Joe Hooe, Melanie Harris, where's Melanie? And Mike Russell. I'm not new to this area. I raised my family here. My son's a volunteer fireman at the Elk Ridge Fire Department. I've coached Little League games. I've done it all. I'm a small businessman. I've never run for an office before. I'm not going to tell you that education's important to me, crime, opioid, and all the other catchphrases. I'm a small businessman, and what really got me into this politics is seeing the waste of the money that we have in our area and the resources we have. So my main thing is for government accountability on where your tax dollars went, where they're being stored. I want to know where the casino money is. I want to know where the lottery money is. If we keep the budget like you have to keep your house budget, we can have new schools in Lansdowne. I'm going on a ticket of a level playing field for everybody. If anybody has half a brain, they know why Delaney got the new high school. That's where the votes are. And you people here, first of all, there's not a bad choice of any politician or incumbent in this room. Because anybody that takes the time to run for an office sacrifices. I never knew what was involved. So there's not a bad choice of anybody that's running for position here. I want you to hire me to be your delegate. I'm going to go on common sense, accountability, and we're blessed with what we have where we live here. We can have great schools everywhere. I'm not going to tell you the job creation isn't important. I'm going to launch something in the next 30 days. You'll be able to go to Sweden USA. The website's up, but it's under construction. And you'll see my plan to bring thousands of jobs to this area through website and economic development. We'll be bringing in some money from other countries to create an economic zone. And these jobs will not hurt the environment. They'll be more of a tech type government assistance. We're so close to DC that we can create high-tech jobs right here in our area that will not harm the infrastructure, and we can give people high-paying jobs. This, I know I'm probably running out of time.
You got plenty of time.
Okay.
Take your time, take your time.
Take your time.
All this talk about the minimum wage and everything. Minimum wage is important. You can't raise a family on $15 an hour minimum wage. So where we've let the people down that need the help is, we just kept throwing money at them. We never fixed the problem in the first place. You can't raise a family on $15 an hour. I mean, do the math. I think Ruth did the math. It's impossible. If we would have taken those funds and created workforce development programs and let somebody be a plumber, let somebody be an electrician, there's 16,000 houses boarded up in Baltimore City, and I think there's a few here in your neighborhood, Joe.
Definitely.
Now these people become proud homeowners. They're electricians. They're plumbers. That's just common sense. And as far as bipartisan, there should only be one United States, and we are. And you have to have the two-party system. But like Joe said, I'm willing to work with anybody. I know what it's like to have a flat tire the same day your gas and electric bill comes. You go, what am I going to do first? Fix the flat tire, or am I going to pay the gas and electric bill? Believe me, as a small business owner, they're the things you face every day. But a lot of the people that are in the General Assembly, you know, they think it's easy. We'll just raise taxes. But that's not the answer. We've got the resources here, if we use them wisely, that everybody can have new schools. And another thing, we forget a lot of the people who have special needs. And when we have the right budget and smart spending, we can create programs for special needs children or special needs adults. And I'm not going to get too much on the opioid problem, but like Spring Grove Hospital, that could be a great campus like a Harvard. People could be treated out there. That's also going to create jobs. The people with opioid and drug addiction problems, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
You can finish your thought.
No, that's okay. I don't
want to cut you off.
No, that's fine.
You can be you're learning to be a politician today. Get your time. Get your
time. Listen, I'm just going to go back to saying there's no bad choices in this room, but I would like you to hire me. Thank you.
Okay. Now we'd like to bring forward Melanie Harris.
Hello everyone, I'm Melanie Harris. I'm running for House of Delegates in District 12. Thank you so much, Jim and TV3 Baltimore for moderating. Thank you, WMC Radio, for giving us the opportunity. I'm joined here today by my fiance, Aaron. We have our family that we're raising here in Arbutus, and I'm running for House of Delegates because Annapolis is in crisis. I don't know how many all of you follow local politics in Annapolis, but the divide is growing. I know that you've seen that our Governor Hogan has tried to introduce meaningful legislation that will help people across all parts of Maryland, and unfortunately, due to the majority in Annapolis, it keeps getting voted down. Now, I'm a Republican candidate, and I do run on Republican values. Lower taxes, more accountability with how our tax dollars are being spent, and more transparency in government. There has been legislation introduced in this session. I have examples that I can provide afterwards to anyone interested that have been voted down by our current representatives. If you want to hire the right people to represent you in Annapolis, to go down there on the values that you hold dear, such as lower taxes, government basically doing its job and then getting out of your way as it's meant to do, I ask that you will vote for myself, Bob Cockey, and Michael Russell, as well as Joe Hooe for Senate for in November 6th of this year. Some of the things that I'm running on are education. My fiance and I have a son that we're raising in Arbutus, and that's why I decided to run right now as opposed to waiting for perhaps the next cycle when he's ready to enter school. I want to have the education system fixed before then. I think it's great that we are having a forum in Lansdowne. I know that Lansdowne's been ignored for way too long until the election year candidates come along to give their promises as usual. When you elect myself, Melanie Harris, as well as the slate that we're running with, you won't get those kind of false promises to only come true in an election year. You will have an advocate by your side for the entire year. I've been active for many years in politics. I was the vice president of the Maryland Young Republicans. I started the club, the Baltimore Young Republicans, and got that to be active again. And one thing that I found is no matter where you stand on the line of the Republican Party, that you want a government that will work for you. Because I don't know how many
Hey, startup listeners, we wanted to tell you about the story of a guy.
There's a line of extremely progressive to extremely conservative and somewhere in the middle. What you probably want from your representative are people that, regardless of where they stand on the political spectrum, they will work with everyone of both sides in the middle to produce meaningful legislation for you, to pass laws that affect you positively, rather than just give the same old rhetoric that you hear every 4 years. That's what I've got. Thank you. Hope you vote for me. I'll use it later.
All right, that was brief, but succinct and nice. All right, and now on the Democratic side for the House of Delegates, I know that. Oh, I'm sorry. Whoops, we forgot about Michael Russell because he was right in front of me. That's why. But Michael Russell, I don't want to cut him off. He's a great guy.
Thanks so much. Thank you, TV3 Baltimore, and thank you, WMC Radio, for having us here. Hi, I'm Mike Russell. I'm running for state delegate in District 12. I'm running on the slate with Bob Cockey, Melanie Harris, and Joe Hooe. We hope to have the governor on that slate as well as Al Redmer for county executive. what you see before you today is probably the youngest candidate for the House of Delegates in this district. We've got the oldest candidate on the slate, and we've got the youngest candidate. But just because I'm young doesn't mean I'm inexperienced. I served 7 years in the Maryland Army National Guard. I worked on Hogan's transition team as well as in his administration. I've worked on Mark Plaster's congressional campaign as his field director. I come at leadership from a different perspective. I come from it from a military standpoint, where I've seen people time and time again look at good leaders and look at bad leaders. And for me, a good leader is somebody who gets down in the trenches with their people, runs with them into head-on danger, and comes out with them side by side. They know their experiences, they know what's going on, and they listen to their people, and they take care of their people first. I don't see that in our current representation, and that's sad to me, because I want to see our district thrive. I want to see our district become something that has the possibilities to build up the schools, to make sure that everybody has a great education system, to make sure that we bring this money back into the community and that our community thrives on businesses. I'm a small business owner, just started this year, and I'm proud of that because I'm doing something with my life. And I'm doing something with these two hands right here. I'm building something. And that to me is something of an accomplishment. And nobody can take that away from me. And nobody can take that away from any other business owner. But the regulation and the taxes are overburdening these small business in this community and in many communities around the state of Maryland. And we need to stop that. We need to make sure that these small businesses, such as craft breweries, security jobs, as well as plumbing, electrical, all these small businesses thrive within our community. We can't do that if we overtax them and overburden them. I see leadership as the people's representation. I see somebody who listens to the people, and with the current bills that are coming forward, our current representation aren't listening to the people. Instead, they want to go out there and make bills on special interests, party leadership, and party division. And we see that through their campaign literature. You know, I was asked a simple question once. When did becoming a Democrat, a Republican, or an independent mean more than being a Marylander? And that holds true to me. I don't think it should be more important. I don't think the Democrats should say, you know, we're going to put our party interests before the people. We're going to put our special interests before the people. And that's not fair. I see that through their campaign literature when they say, so-and-so for Democrat, House of Delegates. What you won't find on our literature is neither a Republican, a Democrat, or an independent. You'll just find a Marylander. Because that's who we are. We're Marylanders first. And we come to a party second. And that's how we're going to operate as a slate within Annapolis. We're going to put the people's voice before us and not our parties. And I want to thank you so much for your time. I want to thank TV Baltimore again and WMC Radio. Thank you so much.